If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry each time we meet, walk on by, walk on by.
We got in Jacksonville, Florida, Matthew.
Hello, Matt. How are you today? I want to start off by saying I'm a big fan of your show. I'm not particularly religious. Okay, I'm going to put that out there right now. I am.
Me neither.
Yeah, good on you. I don't think any worldly religion would lead us to the truth, because there isn't one right way to truth. There's only the truth, and if you need to debate it, then guess what? It's not the truth. Because truth is absolute. It's the only absolute in the universe. And basically what I'm saying is, when you find the truth for what it is, there's no room for debate, because it is an absolute. It is the only absolute. It is the singular and then everything. It's all and nothing at the same time.
Well, we would maybe agree with much of that sentiment. I guess we would say that you know, in order to sort of demonstrate that you have the proof, you have to provide the evidence for your case, and you have to back it up, and the evidence has to be testable, and these sorts of things.
And I don't want to be so quick to dismiss debate as it's not a pathway to discovering truth. Debate is very much, at least it ends up being, showmanship, popularity contests, etc. But I'm a huge fan of debate because I'm a huge fan of argumentation, and argumentation grounded in logic and supported by evidence is the pathway to truth. That is science. It is the reasoning process. It is the single reliable, consistently reliable, demonstrable path to truth. And so I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss debate. What I would say is that you're not going to be able to establish in a debate, as you would typically see them,
No, I wouldn't.
a truth. What you can do is you can be convincing.
Well, my belief system, I know what you say as that when you're going up with facts, when you're going up with logic, and when you're going up with progression, that is the almighty truth. But that's what led me to think, why are there people that can still debate it? And it's because you're right, you're about to say it's because it's an emotional attachment to something that isn't there. But isn't that what faith is, something that will lead you to the truth that isn't known? Isn't that what it is in entirety? Something that doesn't have a factual grounding, but it has emotional grounding?
Faith is the excuse people give when they don't have a good reason.
You're right. You're right.
It's not a path to truth. It's not a way of knowing. It's nothing. It's an answer. It is a response. Why do you believe that? Well, let's see. I don't have a good reason, so I'm just going to say faith, because that sounds good. It sounds like it's been built up over time to be something that people think has value. There is no value to faith. There is no reason to think that faith is a good thing. There is no reason to think that faith is anything positive or beneficial. It's just the placeholder label that people throw down when they cannot adequately justify their beliefs by reason.
You're right. But what you're apparently right now, I'm having a differentiation of what I meant by faith. What I meant by faith was anything that leads you to the truth through emotion, not
Why would you call that faith?
And and you gotta say, and that's the thing, faith. I can't. I'm not going to appeal to you because it's not something that, and I don't appeal to religious people either. Believe me, they do not. I love the Jesus statue. It's real funny. It's not something they would catch after either. It's not something that they would. They won't. I've talked to religious people. I've said, you know, there are many pathways to the truth. You can't just say yours is the only correct one. You can't say that everyone else is going to hell and everyone else is going to be damned forever.
You know, when you make a claim like there are multiple pathways to the truth, I would want to say, well, what evidence do you have that these other pathways work?
Well,
and there should be some evidence, right?
Here's kind of an example. I'm gonna show you a pathway that is going to get you to the truth 50% of the time. I'm flipping a coin. Call it.
Heads.
You're right. It's heads. Look,
Hallelujah.
through no reason, evidence, logic, or anything else, you managed to arrive at the truth. The question isn't, can you get the answer right? The question is, do you have any good reason to think that your answer is right? That's where we're talking about evidence and reason, the scientific method, the process that leads to truth. Faith is not anything. A wild-ass guess or faith can lead you to truth. But the only way that you can verify that you've actually attained the truth is through investigation and science and reason.
Yes.
It's no different. And I wouldn't possibly say that there are multiple paths to the truth. I'd say there's one path to the truth.
You're right. I'm going to rephrase what I just said. It is a pathway that we eventually hone to a point where we see the truth. We start off real broad, and then eventually we come down to a very logical explanation. You're right. But at the peak of it, at its maximum exposure, do you think that it's only one side? Because there's a lot of talk in religion about duality between good and evil, light and dark, stuff like that. But I don't think good and evil can be, per se, said which one's which at this level, because we're so insignificant in the grand scheme of things.
At what level are you talking about? I define what's good and evil according to me.
Well, yeah, that's perceptional, perceptionalism. But the reason we can't, that's another reason we cannot say which one's which.
I can say
because there are people who say this one's right and this one's wrong.
I'm sorry. You know, I guess you can label good actions and evil actions as
justified by your experience and justified
no. Well,
by
things that harm people or things that are benefit people, and you can measure things somewhat objectively that way. You might quibble about how you're measuring, but it's like you seem to be saying that the Crab Nebula is 3.5 good. It's just we don't know it yet.
Well, that's the thing. That's where faith. No, listen to me. This is where faith comes in. This is where we cannot. The faith that you put in science, and I know you say that you don't have faith in science.
That's correct.
And I'm going to debate you on that, just because.
No, you're not.
I know. But you think about this. You put the belief that your method will reach the truth. And once you've honed it to an extent, once you've honed it to a point where you can think, because if you know, there is no 100% absolutes on this level of existence.
I don't even know what level of existence you're talking about. And you've tossed around the word absolute truth so many times that it's starting to get to the point where it's meaningless.
Yeah, you're right.
Here's what I would say. I don't think that this one pathway to truth, I was trying to operate within the framework of what I thought you were talking about, and that's obviously failing. I don't think that this one pathway to truth that I was talking about is something where we are necessarily going to be absolutely certain. What I will say is that the exercise of applied reason and evaluation of evidence, that is what the scientific method is based off of, but reasoning in general, that are based on the logical absolutes that I'm not going to go back through that we've talked about.
Exactly.
That is the single most demonstrably reliable path to understanding. It's the closest you're ever going to get to truth. Sorry, let me remove the ever. It's the closest that you can get to truth given what we know now. If there's any other method that people want to say they're going to use to try to find out what the truth is, how do you find out how reliable that method is?
Each time we meet, walk on.